Hello and welcome, my bears eating popsicles. How you doing in this wonderful day? It's Super John Bombo here, and this is the new updates patch notes for you guys. I tried to pop this video out as fast as I possibly could, so if you guys want to press that like button for me, I'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you want to learn about more awesome BD6 content coming your way. First things first, we've got the new hero. This is the most important part of the update. I'm going to make it my own specific video talking about literally everything about Sauda that I can, but for right now, know that she's actually really good. Just like other heroes, she's going to cost us 5,000 monkey money to get, but it's a pretty hefty cost for a pretty awesome hero. At a measly $500 on easy, one of the cheapest heroes in the games, which is awesome. The range is a little bit to be wanted, you know, even as a level 20 hero. Not much to work with there. A little bit more than Pat, but not much more than that. As far as abilities go, though, I think this is probably the most fun part about her. So let's hit out round 63 here. You're going to see how powerful she is. She just slices right through lead balloons, pops ceramics down into green balloons here, and then there's a residual effect with the swords that end up popping them over time, kind of like a Bernie stuff aspect. In addition, when we see this next group of ceramics here, we're going to jump in the air and just pound these guys into the ground, destroying all balloons on the screen. The last ability here, which you get on level 10, by the way, is to sword charge through the entire map, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now, during that process, you got to keep in mind that we're not doing our regular attacks, which is going to make it a little bit worse, but popping so many blues on the screen like that is pretty freaking sweet. And just to show you how awesome that is, what I want to do is I want to set around 95 here, and I just want to show this to you guys, all right? We have automatic cam detection, by the way, at higher levels here. And I'm going to wait for these big chunks of DDTs to come out, and check this out. Check this out. Wait for it. I'm going to start a little early here. We're going to go for our sword charge here. We're doing mega damage to these DDTs. Mega damage to these DDTs, and we get the ability to jump on top of these balloons and do some additional damage on top of that. This is just insanity, man. She is freaking amazing, and I really like her as part of this team here. Oh, what is that? Oh my god, it floated across the screen. It's the golden balloon. So what does the golden balloon do? Well, if you play on a map, and you play it, and you do things, let's just do it. Oh, it's the golden balloon! So the golden balloon, you have to pop the golden balloon to earn extra monkey money. It's tricky to pop, but you won't lose any lives if it escapes. The golden balloon appears multiple times in each game, and it evolves with each appearance, which means it just gets more difficult over time. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of Sauda here. We're going to pop down a sniper, and I'm just going to try to snipe it and see how hard this is going to be. We're going to get this up. I'll pop Sauda back down here and just see what we can do here. It's pretty freaking strong here, man. I mean, we are sending it backwards, though, it looks like. And we get 2 monkey money, so not very much monkey money here, but still a fairly interesting part of the game here. And when you can do that multiple times per game, it can get pretty interesting pretty fast. This map is honestly really, really, really weird, but it is part of the new game here, so we've got to get used to it. It's only an intermediate map, so it should be fairly easy, especially if you're using somebody like Sauda right in the middle just to pop literally everything here. It's really difficult to tell what's going on, and honestly, I can't tell you exactly, but it looks like a lot of the balloons are sort of taking multiple paths. So they're coming in over here, they're going through 1, 2, 3, 4 different paths just to get to this area right here, and the same thing over here. So possibly the most paths out of any map in existence so far. 8 possible paths for us to have to pop here, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty ridiculous, and you don't get that much room to work with. You do get a small puddle down here, but this blue stuff is not water. It's still just regular land here. So you've got very little room to work with. All these leaves are kind of in the way, so you have to be careful with that. You get a spot over here, a couple spots over here, a little bit of water patch over there, and that's pretty much it. In addition, in the areas out here, you cannot see through walls, so that makes it even more difficult to play this map. Overall, a fun addition to the game, but we'll have to see how it goes. A bunch of new additions of trophy things. Honestly, all welcomed things. I think one of the things that I'm most excited for is my Ninja Kiwi pet. I really want to get this guy and show him off here. Also, the chocolate BFP just looks really cool, I think. 3, I believe, fan-made, quote-unquote, fan-made additions to the game over here as well, which is really cool. And I like this guy a lot. This is going to be a new emoticon that we can use in our co-op stuff. That's cool, man. I just like the look of it. a lot. But I'm running out of trophies, so I can't buy everything. Now, Ninja Kiwi made some huge changes to free play here. Well, not huge. Well, some changes to free play here for the people who actually like playing free play. As far as I understand it, and they made this a smidge complicated, but basically, once you go into free play, your experience reduction is huge. You go from making 100% of your experience up to around 100 to only 10% of your experience 100 plus. That means playing free play isn't really worth much at all. In fact, it's basically worthless for getting experience or earning levels or doing anything in this game. You have to play regular maps. But free play is pretty fun for a lot of people. So they've changed it now. Instead of losing 90% of your experience, you're only losing 70% of your experience. So it's still not great, but at least it's a change in the right direction, and it makes free play actually a viable way to earn some experience now. Now, one great thing about Ninja Kiwi is that they go into great detail, showing off all of the bug changes that they fixed or changed or whatever they did to them to make them work properly now. And I don't like to go into them because now they're just making the game work properly. I don't really need to talk about all the things that were wrong with the game. Let's talk about what's right with the game, like the balance changes. So this is what is very interesting. They're going to change the sharpshooter again. This has been like buffed and nerfed and buffed and nerfed and buffed and nerfed and like kind of like a smidge of different ways, but they just couldn't figure out exactly what they want to do with him. But now the sharpshooter's finally, hopefully going to be settled in here. Damage is increased from 5 up to 6. So when we're fighting big chunky balloons like rainbows and stuff, we're going to cut through a lot of layers here. We still don't have a ton of pierce. We don't go through tons of balloons in themselves, but the big balloons like rainbows and zebras and even whites and blacks, we're going to take down to really, really low tier balloons, and that's going to be fantastic here. Just knocking it down to nothing is seriously great here. Now, when you look at this, you might think that this is really, really weird, and why would Ninja Kiwi even touch this? But when you finally talk about the details here, it'll make a little bit more sense. Now, Blade Maelstroms almost have no limit to the amount of pops that they can get. And I say almost, because in any real scenario, in any real game here, your Blade Maelstrom will not get overwhelmed. But in extreme scenarios, like in races, your blades can get overwhelmed and the blades can actually disappear. So, what Ninja Kiwi decided to do was they made it pop even less balloons now. So even though in regular games it'll still be, pretty much just exactly as successful, it'll be nerfed in things like races where you try to pop infinite balloons or too many balloons, more than what it probably should do. Then they changed it down to 100 for the Blade Maelstrom, which still is a lot of popping power, by the way. And they changed it down to 500 pierce for the Super Maelstrom. So again, frickin' ridiculous, but not infinite. Some pretty small tweaks to the ice towers here. The Super Riddle is now price decreased from 30,000 down to 28,000 here. So fairly successful, but still not super important. I don't know how I feel about that. Just, okay, that's fine. He was probably still not a tower that I'm going to use all that much. And Absolute Zero got a pretty significant buff for its ability. Still not great, but against balloons it will be pretty gosh darn powerful. Oops, I meant to send out 999 rainbows, not on round 999. When we use this ability now, you're going to notice that they're going to be frozen for a long time, all the way up to 15 seconds. That is crazy, dude. Seriously crazy that you could freeze balloons for that long on the screen. Almost unbelievable. But yeah, hey, cool, welcome changes. So Glue got some pretty interesting changes here. Margarine Boy got some interesting changes, but I'm reading it as different than what I'm seeing on my game here. First of all, Bloon Dissolver got a price decrease of just $100, so nothing big there, but it's still a decrease. But Bloon Liquefier, according to their Reddit post, went from 5,500 down to 5,000, but I'm seeing it as a whopping 3,800 here, so either I'm reading this wrong or I'm doing it wrong or something else is going on to make this a little funky fresh here, but either which way, this is pretty gosh darn cheap now, and that is pretty exciting because this is not a bad tower at all. In addition, the Moab Glue, it's got a pretty nice buff here. They changed the speed of the Moabs that are glued from 0.75 down to 0.625, and they said they changed it back, which means that at some point, I don't remember reading this or remember this fact, but they nerfed him to make the Moabs move move faster when they're glued. So now it's back down to that low speed. Now it's a very effective tower again. Let's use him up. I'm going to combine talking about the Zarbomba and the Tech Terror and kind of the Maelstrom, because they're all doing the same thing. They're all decreasing the max popping power of these guys because they think that races are too weird right now. These guys are just too powerful in races. When you use these abilities, you just kill everything on the screen, and that's not exciting. You should actually use towers to pop things, right? That kind of makes sense, I guess. So every single one of these towers is going to get some sort of decrease in the max pierce or the max popping power that they can actually do here. Fair, but again, just kind of weird. The Ground Zero down to 1,000, the Tsar Bomba down to 5,000. The cooldown did get decreased, though, on this guy, so even though it got a pierce decrease, it also got that nice buff with that time there, which is going to help it out quite a bit. These guys, again, not a big change. Probably doesn't going to matter all that much, but it is still a change. And then for the Super Monkeys here, the Tech Terror price got reduced quite a bit, which is going to be kind of helpful here in just having the ability be useful in regular old games here. But the ability pierce is reduced to 2,000, and the anti-balloon pierce is reduced down to 10,000. I doubt people are really needing to do that, but it's still a thing. So keep that in mind. Now this is a big one right here. All right, now this is seriously wild, because I think that this is going to be one of the new game-breaking changes to BTD6 right here, so pay attention to this very, very carefully. The Heli Pilot Razor Rotors just got a wicked buff. All right, now what the big problem was that the second-tier Heli gets this upgrade called Pursuit. All right, and when you get Pursuit in combination with Razor Rotors, what's happening is you waste a lot of your Razor Rotors. For example, if we send out 30 Rainbows, we're going to only kind of hit the front of the balloons here. We're going to barely hit them with our Razor Rotors, but when we do, it does a decent amount of damage. As he starts to chase here, he's doing a better job, but still, it's not acting the way it should. It's just sort of randomly hitting the balloons on accident, right? So that kind of sucks, and it does even worse in regular, actual, real-case scenarios instead of sending out 30 Rainbows. So the Razor Rotor was kind of worthless. But they doubled, all right? And this is, check this out, this is damage. Increased from 1 to 2 now. So if we were able to use this guy properly, and we sent out these, 30 Rainbows again, and we just kind of sit on top of the balloons here, and we just do as much damage as we possibly can here, this is going to be a very, very effective tower, all right? Use the Razor Rotors to your advantage here, and you're going to be popping a lot of balloons. But that does mean that that Pursuit upgrade that you got earlier is going to be not worthless, but not helpful as much as you'd like. And this also might be helpful to lock him in place in certain areas like this, where you could just let him just sort of sit there, do some regular balloon and popping power, and get a pretty good amount of popping power out of him just as a whole. Oh yeah! Bloon Incineration! One of those towers that we like, but hate to like at the same time. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. We don't love this guy. He's never great. He was always just okay at best. He's got a few maps where he's useful, but now he might be a more useful tower. All right, I mean, we're talking about an over $50,000 5th-tier tower here, normally including the 4th-tier upgrades and all that stuff. But now with this Bernie stuff over here, we can de-reinforce the Moabs, do tons of regular Moab damage, do tons of even balloon damage over here, and overall just be a fairly effective tower in combination with all of our other things. He's not a one-trick pony that does everything, but what he does is very useful, and I welcome this change quite handsomely. Ooh, I like this a lot! The base Dartling gun price got decreased, man, from $1,000 to $850 over here, so a very, very reasonable Dartling gun change over here. I mean, the base Dartling gun's actually a pretty solid tower already, so I will take this very easily, man. I love it. Alright, 2 more interesting changes for the Dartling gun as well. For example, the Plasma Accelerator now got a pretty large buff. Basically, it's going to pop about 20% more balloons by technically hitting about 20% faster. Alright, so just overall more DPS for the balloons, which is generally helpful for this guy, and it carries into the Ray of Doom as well, which is going to make the Ray of Doom even more powerful as well. Very fun upgrades, very fun changes. I thought that that's exactly what that tower needed, and now I feel like I can use them. Bloon Exclusion Zone randomly got a $2,000 price decrease. Not sure why. Maybe something involving chimps and trying to do a chimp strategy. That's all I can think of. Welcome change. I thought he was pretty good already, but I don't use him as much as I probably should. I don't fully understand this change. If you guys want to let me know in the comments what it means, feel free. But basically, the acidic mixture dip is automatically going to power up your towers a decent amount. and I guess now we're powering them up to a larger possible stack from 10 to 13, and then also the 3-2 is going to stack from 35 up to 40. Again, don't know the exact details of what that incorporates, but slightly more powerful. That makes sense to me. Kind of have to see how it works in the real game, in the real play here. 3 very interesting changes to the Spike Factory. Also, welcomed. I think that these are fair. You know, I don't love it because I like some of these towers, but I still think that they are fair. First of all, we've got the Spiked Balls price increase, only $100. It's OP, dude. $100 is nothing here. That seems very reasonable, especially for getting this thing. It's still one of the best Spike Factories in the game. The 4th tier got a huge price decrease, and it's honestly still a really, really good tower. It's still really good for challenges and stuff. So this is going to be even more of an OP tower here. Just sort of spam him in the back and let him do his work. In addition, now we've got the 5th tier over here, the Permaspike, which is a better, bigger stacks cross path. Before, every single game, no matter what, you're getting the Permaspike with the faster production. It just happens. It's better. Way, 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 way better. But now we have more of a reason to get the bigger stacks. So its price, its Pierce is increased from 70 to 80, so it's not a huge change, but it's still something that we should think about here if we want to pop DDTs in a fun, interesting, and fair way as well. This is kind of a weird thing to talk about, but I guess it is still part of the game here. This is Oban Greenfoot's lack of randomness update. So what they used to do was Oban Greenfoot would randomly put the trees down, randomly put the thorns down, randomly put the totems down. Now he should be aiming more. And by aiming, he should be putting them at the frontmost balloon. So we should see the trees right here. And that's exactly where they go. All right, we should see the thorns in the frontmost balloons here. It's just the way he's going to work now. It makes him, I think, better. I mean, we don't have to rely on RNG anymore. We can actually control, at least slightly, what he does. Similar to Gwendolyn. The cocktail, it doesn't throw randomly. It gets thrown at the frontmost balloon. And now we can throw our thorns down at the frontmost balloon. So it'll help us out just a little bit more. Welcome change. I love it. So this is all the changes that I've seen in the game so far. If you guys think I forgot anything or anything that's super duper important, feel free to leave a comment below. And, you know, hopefully this was a well-made video. If it was, press that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and of course, have a super duper delicious day.